on blast.
And we are live. This is the Wrap It Up on Blast Raps post-game show. As always, my name is Sheldon Alexander, and this episode of Wrap It Up is brought to you by Clean Cuts Barbershop, 2013 Danforth Avenue in the East End of Toronto. Clean Cuts, the multicultural barbers that will always keep you fresh for any and all occasions. So go see Skip and the crew. As a wise man once said, tell them that I sent ya. Check them out on Instagram at Clean Cuts Toronto or give them a call, 416-917-4833 to book your appointments now. Raptors fans, that was a tough one. Tough loss, 101-99 as the Raptors lose to the Blazers, who only led this game for 17.3 seconds. That's a tough loss.
Yeah, that hurts.
And first off, before we get into it, let me introduce a co-host for tonight. On the far side, I got my guy Foots, a.k.a. Mr. Olamati. How you doing? How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me this evening.
Glad to have you back, because there's a lot to discuss in this game. So thank you for joining us on the couch, because I feel like this might be a therapy session for the Raptors fans right now, because already the both chats are like going crazy right now, and people are like, "Geez, they're salty." So appreciate you stopping by. Q, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm good. Back for the new year. Happy New Year to all the regulars. Happy New Year to everybody.
You shouting out birthdays too?
Happy New Year.
I don't
do
know.
it all here.
Maybe you had some fans that hit you up and they told
we
you
do
the
it all
birthdays?
here.
I don't know.
Somebody's birthday. It is what it is.
As mentioned, this is the Wrap It Up podcast. My name is Sheldon Alexander. Huge shouts to you guys who tune in with us and rock with us live on Twitter at Shell Alexander after each and every Raptors game. We take your comments and questions there because we are the only live and interactive Raptors post-game show after each and every Toronto Raptors game. Same thing goes for Instagram. Take your comments and questions there as well. And we will go back and read your comments live during the show. So send us your questions. Why are you mad? Who do you put this blame on? Are you blaming the refs? We'll answer all those questions. So hit us in the comment section on both. And if you are happening to be listening to the Instagram feed right now, go to the link in bio. That way you can see the full feed instead of just the close-up on my ugly face. If you click the link in bio on Instagram, you see the full set. You can see Foots, you can see Q, hear the full audio, the full podcast.
Get the full experience.
Full podcast experience. And of course, if you ever miss the pod, don't worry, we got you covered as we end up on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts.
We everywhere. They're never there.
We everywhere, right?
We everywhere.
We got you covered. So like and subscribe, tell your friends, all that fun stuff. And just know that whether it's a win or a loss, we're here for you, the Raptors fan. And I feel like you guys might need us after this game because the Raptors got some tough news with a bunch of injuries, right? Yep. Fred VanVleet being the latest to go down, and he's out with a hamstring injury, missed tonight's game. Don't really know when he's coming back. Nick Nurse kind of like tiptoed around and made it seem like it might not be just a one-game thing. Mm-hmm. So you head into this game down now. Fred VanVleet, Norman Powell, Marc Gasol, and Pascal Siakam. That's about 60% of your offense.
A lot of pieces.
Okay? So you head into this game against the Portland Trail Blazers, and the Raps came out well, and they played great. And normally we would start from the start of the game, but I feel like we have to go right to crunch time to discuss just what happened to the Raptors down the stretch. Because they were in control of this game. I thought they got a great push from their bench. But down the stretch, Q, I'll start with you. What do you think happened? I know there are a couple guys making some big shots. Yeah. Some people might bring up the refs. Where do you fall on this? What happened to the Raps late?
It's a combination of everything, but I think...
Don't sit on the fence. Don't sit on the fence. I'm joking.
It's a combination of everything, like I said. But I think the offense kind of... It changed in crunch time. It was more like, pass the ball to Will. Mm-hmm. Right? Where all through the game, like everybody was, the surge on Whiteside. Surge was cooking Whiteside all game.
Yeah.
You're down 2.
Yeah.
Maybe you go to that.
Yeah.
Right? But there's some misplays, some missed shots. And on the other side, big-time players make big-time shots.
And you mentioned some tough plays down the stretch. You're right. And even on that last second chance the Raps had where McCaw threw the ball out of bounds to Kyle, like that's just a terrible play that you can't have in crunch time, right? Yeah. Foots, what about you? Where do you think what happened to the Raps? How did they not have an answer for Dame Lillard when I thought throughout the majority of the game, Dame was quiet, but then he hit some big boy shots.
Well, that's the difference between a superstar and I guess, an all-star or other reserve role players, right?
Yeah.
Because just like you said, Dame Lillard was having a bad game all game, but your superstar is supposed to be there in the crunch in the last 3 minutes, and he hit crucial shots, deep logo shots.
Yeah.
Right? So, the Raptors played as good defense. That was a bad call. That was a moving screen.
So this was going to be my next point here because obviously people are in the mentions. They're talking about the refs and two huge calls. Raps were up 3 at this point. Dame Lillard comes over half court. Whiteside sets a very questionable screen.
He was moving.
Dame splashes it to tie the game. We'll start there. Was that a bad call?
Yes, of course it was.
Yeah.
Because you can see, especially with Whiteside's hips,
Yeah.
the hips were moving. So that's a moving screen at the end of the day, right?
It wasn't a square screen.
It wasn't a square screen at all.
Q, do you agree with that one?
It wasn't a bad call. It was a missed call because there was no call on the play.
That's true.
That's fair.
Now,
That's fair.
that was a hip check. It was damn near a knee to knee. So that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. I understand sometimes they say that the ref didn't want to influence the game, but
He did. By
there's
not,
certain things, blatant things you have to call, right?
Yeah.
For
sure.
Missed call.
So then right after that, the next play that happened down the floor was Rondé Hollis-Jefferson driving to the basket.
Yeah.
The refs call a jump ball. But on the replay, kind of looked like a foul. What do you guys think of that call? Was that call another one that went against the Raptors?
He's Hollis Jefferson. That's like, come on, man. He's not going to get that call because if it was reversed and it was Damian Lillard, they're calling that call.
They're calling it. Okay.
Right?
I mean, when that's what the NBA is coming to,
That's what the NBA's always been.
but
Real spit, that's what the NBA's always been. Come on, man. Jordan's getting calls that other dudes don't get. It's always been like that. Stars get calls. James Harden gets calls that other dudes don't get.
But I understand that. But it seems to happen a little bit more these days, right?
Okay.
And, when you have a team like the Raptors, right? Again, world champions, 6 players out with injuries.
So bottom line,
who was supposed to get that
Bottom
call?
line, though, is that a foul?
Of course it's a foul.
Okay. So now here's where I want to get into this conversation because it comes up all the time and there's a bunch of people. Shouts to my guy Empo who has hit me up already before we even started. Hollywood. If we go back, right?
Baby.
But so I had a thing obviously a couple games ago where I said I'm not blaming the refs. I don't blame the refs. Blaming the refs are lame, right? So Poe hit me up before the feed even came up. He said
ready.
He was ready. He hit me up before, again, the feed didn't even come up for the podcast yet, and he was already in my mentions. And he says it's, quote, lame to blame the refs. Hey, Shell Alexander, LOL. And my response was simply, got cooked by Melo. No?
Yeah.
Like that's
a fact
like,
too.
All game.
To me, you can blame the refs. The refs made terrible calls. I agree with those. Both of those calls were bad. But what happened after those calls? So it was a jump ball. Whiteside, because Whiteside is Whiteside. He loses a jump ball to Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, which makes no sense. So now you get the ball back. You have that other possession. You couldn't do anything with it. Right? Then you're talking about the McCaw turnover.
Yeah.
And now it's still a tie game, and you let Carmelo Anthony get off on you. And hey, I'm a Melo fan. I've been a Melo fan for a long time. My guy McAuliffe, I don't know if he's watching right now, but I know tomorrow we're going to have a fun conversation about Melo because he always crushes me for liking Melo or repping Melo. But if you're the Raps, you can't let Melo go off for 28 on you and the game-winning bucket. And Melo hit big other threes in crunch time as well. But this is where I'm saying... Hold on. This is where I'm saying... Blaming the refs is so simplistic. Yes, the refs made bad calls, but you still had a chance to make plays at the end of the game after those questionable calls, and you didn't do it. So to blame the ref is so simplistic to me.
One time in his career, Carmelo was the leading scorer in the NBA, and he was a closer. Come on now. You don't think that he could...
Yeah. So yes, Melo was out of the league for about a year, But Melo is Melo.
He's still who he is.
Right? Melo was born to do what Melo did today. But my thing is, he shouldn't have had the chance to. Yes, there's 2 bad calls, and what did those calls get you? 5 points. The Raptors should never have been within 5 points of Portland the way they played tonight.
Yep. Again, Portland won this game by only leading for 17.3 seconds in this game, and Melo, 28 points on 10 of 17 shooting, 5 of 8 from 3, add in 7 rebounds for Carmelo. Melo balled.
Very
plain
efficient.
and simple. Melo
Very
balled
efficient
out.
night.
Yeah, and throughout the game where the Raptors were up consistently, the lead was up to 14, I want to say was the high. Yep. And Melo was the only one scoring. Dame didn't really get things going until late. Yep. CJ McCollum finished with 10 points in this game. He shot 5 of 19.
Terrible.
Bazemore, he was doing nothing and got tossed.
Yeah. You might as well just stay in the locker room.
Shouldn't even mention Bazemore.
And hey, as much as I crush Whiteside, 14 and 16 and 4 assists, Whiteside had 7 blocks in this game. As much as I crush Whiteside.
I crush Whiteside all the time, but he's doing his number.
It's a crazy stat line.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But somehow, some way, to me, so I'm going to ask you guys this. If you're the Raps, how do you look at this game? Do you say it sucks that you blew the game, or is it just a factor of, hey, their stars or their main players made buckets down the stretch, and we don't really have our stars to make buckets down the stretch? Like, is there a moral victory here, or is it just, nah, that sucks, you got to win that game because you were in control? Foots, I'll start with you, man.
I think as a coach, there's never a moral victory. You don't want to give that type of mindset to your guys. Mm-hmm. So as a coach, I would say no.
Yeah.
But I think as amongst players, they know.
Yeah.
We have what 6, 7 guys out. We know at the end of the day we gave them that game.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. As a coach, I wouldn't put that mindset on the team. So I wouldn't say that to the other players.
Q.
No, there's no moral victories. There's no moral victories.
Okay.
Like we've been saying all year. Yes, we are the world champions, but we're at this point, especially with the injuries, you can't be giving away those games.
Agreed.
And you can't be.
I'm gonna keep it a buck too. From when those 3 injuries happened, I stated any win that you get over the time that those 3 guys, and now it's turned to 4. Yeah. But with those 3 guys out, you got to grab those wins, because every win, especially in that Eastern Conference where 2 to 6 is split between one game, you need to get all the wins you can. The fact that the Raptors are now 5-5, I want to say, since that Detroit game where Gasol, Norman Powell, and Gasol, Norman Powell, and Siakam all got hurt. Mm-hmm. The fact that you're 5-5 and you've managed to stay at 500, like with those guys out of the lineup, is incredible. But I get the feeling that there's going to be some point where you're going to look back and think, this was a game you should have had.
And I think there's too many. And I think, yes, maybe when you look back at the season, you have some excuses with the man games lost, but there are legit games where they just gave away.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's not they. Right? If you came in here and Melo gave you 30 and Dame gave you 30 and CJ gave you 30 and you just got beat by their stars, cool.
Yeah.
You have you hang your heads high. You guys were in the game. But in this game, you had it.
Yeah.
Right? Even your 5G leaguers came in and gave you a run.
Yeah.
So there's you gave away a game, and we're not where we were last year, where you can say doesn't matter. It's only playoff. The only thing that matters is playoffs. Yeah. This is a regular season.
This is a different
this game.
Yeah.
This game you gave it away, and if this at the end of the season, like you said, it's close between one game. So if this is the difference between playing Indiana and Boston in the first round, it's going to matter.
It's going to matter a lot.
Yep.
Another thing I want to get your take on this, Foot. So you look at the lines here. Kyle Lowry finished with 24 points, but he shot 7 of 23, 4 of 16 from 3 in this game. Serge Ibaka has been doing his thing. I want to say it is now 8 straight double-doubles for Serge. Yeah. He finished with 17 and 11 in this game.
Nice.
So the key, though, to me is the bench, because I know Nurse went back to the starters in terms of McCaw and OG late, but can you guys talk about just how impressive O'Shea Brissett was? He finished with 12 points in this game. Chris Boucher with 12 points in this game. How important was it for those guys in this instance where you're down so many people in your lineup? How big is it to get, those performances from your young bucks You're Canadians. You're 905ers. Like, how hype as fans of basketball, though? And I guess maybe I'm trying to paint some silver lining in a tough loss, but a bright spot was those kids. How dope is it to see Brissett and Boucher contributing that much to the Raptors?
Honestly, it's a testament to our organization as a whole. From the 905 to the big league team, it's just a testament to the coaches that we have, right? Because Brissett, now I seen the highlights. Now Brissett was playing. Didn't he play in the 905 game just last night?
Yeah.
And then on fact of that too, all 5 of them did.
Brissett,
and the coach Nick Nurse is there to support the
The
guys.
whole team was there.
Come on, if you go, if we were in the U.S. and just for example now, the Knicks coach, you would never find the Knicks head coach at a Worcester basketball game. You would never find that.
Knicks roster there.
Or the whole Knicks roster there to support the guys, right? So it's just a testament of the organization, and it's a good thing. And you know what it is too? It's live experience. In-game experience is crucial.
Yeah. I just thought what you were getting from those young Bucks was so good to see. And at one point I was saying to you, Q, I was saying Brissett is just, as you mentioned, the game plan and like what the coaches tell, like whatever they sat down and told them, like, listen, you need to just hustle, you need to get on the glass and just be able to hit this open shot. And he's just like followed that. He's not trying to do too much. Yeah. He's staying within his lane, but playing hella defense again. Like, it's just such a good thing to see because you know the foundation is there. How impressive you been? I know Boucher, you've been gassing Boucher. Jeff Berg, follower of the pod. Jeff Berg, it was the first guy to be boosting Boucher. Q, Chris Boucher, man. What do you make of Boucher?
He's an NBA player. He's an NBA player. You know, yes, there are some things he needs to still do. Yeah. And as long as he stays within this organization, I think he will do those things and get there. Yeah. But you have to be impressed with just the hustle. And it's all of them, right? Yeah. Like think about this game right now. We're playing Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum, Carmelo Anthony, Hassan Whiteside. I'll even put him in there. But like legit. You know what I mean? Also. With 5 undrafted players. Yeah. Right? They were all undrafted, not drafted, right? None of them were high school All-Americans. Yeah. Right? None of them were, college phenoms. Yep, right? That's
true.
They all just continue to grind and get there. It's crazy. And you have to be impressed with that. And you know what? Being on this team, I think they have this added little push because when they look up and you're looking up and even Lowry, right? Lowry wasn't a lottery pick. High school All-American.
He was just trying to stay in the league and
he bounced around.
Exactly. And he got to where he's a perennial all-star. People talking about is he a Hall of Famer? Like they even have that question. Yeah. You wouldn't have had that 7 years ago.
For sure.
Right?
Totally.
Siakam came out of nowhere. Only been playing basketball for 7 years now. And then Van Fleet.
Yeah, it's a crazy sign to see, like, organizationally, just like, and the thing that I love the most is that it's the same narrative that Brissett and all these guys know, I got to play defense. Or else I'm not
seeing the court.
Yeah, and I love
Stanley's doing that too now. Hollis Jefferson was in the doghouse at the beginning of the year. Oh, the only way I'm going to get on this court is if I have to bust my tail on defense. Yeah. I love it. It's the mentality.
Exactly.
It has to rub off on you. It has to.
For sure. And I brought this up a couple pods ago, but I'm not going to assume that everybody watches the same podcast. But I always go back to last year and one of the interviews that Danny Green did where he said, he was on ESPN, and he said, the thing that people don't realize about him and Kawhi is they pride themselves on shutting down the other team's perimeter players every single night they take the floor. And so if that's the mentality that you're seeing from Danny and Kawhi last year, you watched that every game last year, right? How can you not have the same mentality when Nick Nurse is telling you, you got to play defense or else you're not playing, right? You got to respect it.
No, you have no choice but to.
And if Kyle's diving all over the place. Yeah. Kyle, I know his numbers are ugly. Again, 7 for 23 is ugly. 4 for 16.
Ugly.
Ugh. He had 10 assists, and the one thing I want to give Kyle credit for was I thought early on in the game, you could tell that their game plan was to push the ball. Yeah. Right? Kyle, get it, go. Don't try to sit in the half court because that's when you're going to get in trouble with guys who aren't really used to having to take a lot of shots.
Yep, for sure.
And so that was a game plan early, and I think that late, the game slowed down for the Raps in the half court, and that benefits Portland, as you mentioned, Portland, but the vet dudes who have been in those moments.
ISO. Yeah, this
Mellow left hand dribble pull up. Like that's a gym shot.
Classic two dribble.
They stopped doing what was working for them.
Mm-hmm.
Ball movement.
Right, surge on the perimeter.
Yeah.
Drawing Whiteside out. That's why Whiteside got those 7 blocks, because they allowed him to then get back to his comfort zone, which is standing under the basket waiting for little guys to come in and try and make layups. Right.
For sure.
The way Serge started the game. Right, what did he end up with? 17. He had 7 points in the first 3 seconds of the game.
Yeah,
3 minutes of the game. Right,
Serge early.
They stopped doing what was working for them earlier in the game. For the first 3.5 quarters, and allowed Portland to get back into the game.
Yep.
And the thing too, sometimes you wonder, like, do you ride the hot hand a little longer? You mentioned Serge, as you mentioned. Serge started the game. He had 7 points in the first 2 minutes. Yeah. But
nice.
The bench, the first time when they brought on that lineup of McCaw, Thomas, Brissett, Boucher, and Stanley Johnson, I wrote down, wow.
Yeah.
Because at no point did I ever think that would be a lineup I'd see the Raptors running this year. Yeah. But I rep Nick Nurse because he's like, no, like, this is a reality that we're in. Y'all got to play.
Yeah.
And to their credit, they came in. It was great ball movement. Brissett hit a 3 early. Boucher was all over the glass. And they closed out on an 8-0 run in that first quarter. Yeah, and I was just like, okay. Raps were up, and again, so when he came back with that bench in the second half, and it was basically subbed out McCaw for Kyle, same thing. You're getting great minutes from Boucher, who was hitting threes. Yep. My guy was blocking shots.
Yeah, he's all
it's
over
just
the
a
place.
great thing to see. And you know what? Let's get to what we call the Ask on Blast, which is basically we just take our comments and questions from the people, because, of course, this is something that we love to do on the pod, where we take your comments and questions both on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander or on Twitter at Shell Alexander. And I got a first comment here from Kermit. Kermit says, should we have left Boucher in for longer? What do you guys think? Boucher in this game, he was they're kind of going back and forth, playing like a offense defense lineup. So you saw him and Serge a bit there, but Boucher played 16 minutes total in this game.
4 from 7.
He had it going late. He's gaining
9
confidence.
Rebounds.
I think here's my thing. I think with the young guy, as they start to build confidence, I think you should ride them out as long as you can, because once I seen Boucher grab the rebound and go coast to coast and lay it in,
he's comfortable.
I said, whoa, right? Like, there's no, oh no, where's Kyle? Where's someone to pass it to? He just got it and went. And I thought, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, this guy's coming along. He's confident. You got to live with the mistakes, kind of like you did with Siakam. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not saying he's Siakam. That's not what I'm saying for the comment section. I'm just saying you got to live with the mistakes at a certain level and let the man cook and develop.
No, definitely. And I don't even think he doesn't even really make mistakes. No. He picks up fouls, which he's gonna do. Being 210 pounds or whatever he is, playing in the post. But it's the hustle. It's the fact that every shot in the lane is contested. Every rebound is fought for. So with that, you can't lose with that on the floor.
Yeah. So we were talking about the refs earlier. My guy Ryan Harris checks in and says, the refs deserve some blame, but Toronto blew the lead. It should have never come down to a missed foul in the first place.
Exactly. I agree. Hit it on the nose.
Totally agree with that. And shouts to Harris. What's going on, my dude? More comments here on Twitter. JC says, good game, but a heartbreaker. It's all good, though. They played well. See, I'm more on that side where I'm like, I know they blew the game. I know they should have won the game. But, again, any win that they get without all these guys out of the lineup
is a bonus.
It's a bonus. And
definitely, but I think they just outplayed Portland, so they should have took this game.
But I'm going to be honest, and I know people are going to disagree with me, but with the Raptors at full strength, I was worried about what they do in crunch time in a close game. With the Raptors team at full strength.
Yep.
So now seeing this team in crunch time, am I shocked that they couldn't figure it out in crunch time, what to do, who to go to get a bucket when they need one, where Dame is just pulling up from the logo and hitting threes?
But this is, right? It's tough.
It's tough. I'm not gonna. I find it hard to be mad at them for losing this game when you have all these.
No, but it's not. I'm not mad at them. Like, you guys suck. You guys lost the game.
Yeah.
And second guessing everything that happened in the game. It's just from what I was watching from the seat right over there. Mm-hmm. It never should have even got it. I was surprised when it was 3 points.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Right?
Susan agrees with you. Susan says, disappointing loss, damn Dame. That's one way to put it, quite simply, right? More comments, and this is interesting because I want to talk about this, and I've seen a bunch of people bring up this person. Stilez, hope I pronounced that right, says, I'm officially off the OG trade.
Oh.
Man's trash. That loss was on him. Can't even cover old man Mello.
Hey.
Now that's harsh.
That's harsh because there's really not anybody in the last 15 years that could cover Melo.
Yeah.
That's what Melo does.
Yeah.
But
right?
to the point, maybe to like if we rein that in a little bit.
Yeah.
OG.
I've said I expected more from OG this season in general, but especially with the opportunities that have been given with all the injuries, I want more from OG, and he's not doing it. I mean, in this game, what did OG finish with in this game? 8 points, 3 of 9 shooting. He had 6 rebounds. But right now, it should be him, it should be Kyle, then Serge, then OG cooking. No, like that should be. He's not aggressive. It's not like I don't know what's going on with OG. Has he taken a step back? Or is this kind of like this might just be what he is? He's a 3 and D, he's a 3 and D guy. Maybe.
I think Coach Nick Nurse is allowing OG to hide.
Okay.
He's not putting a lot of pressure on OG.
Like they're not giving him the ball and being like, "Yo, cook."
They're not putting a lot of pressure on OG.
I think when he looks at the lineup, with where Siakam got. Obviously, we're a guard-dominated team with Fred and Kyle. Mm-hmm. I think he thinks his job is to 3 and D, right?
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't looking into the season thinking, okay, everybody's going to get hurt, so it's going to be all on me, right? So he's, I think defensively he's gotten stronger. I think his shot is improving, but actually to give him the ball and run an offense to him, he's not there yet.
No, but I wouldn't want to run. I wouldn't want to run an offense. But you got to be
But you have to So where does that come from? You know what I mean? Like where are you going to give him the ball for him to be effective, other than Kyle driving and kicking to him at the 3-point line? With the ball in his hand, he doesn't have the handle.
He hasn't developed his game yet.
Drive,
I know what you're saying.
No, I understand.
His game's not fully there yet. Yeah. I know what you're saying. What do you want to see more from Boucher or from OG Foots?
Just being more active.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like if it's not an offensive thing, just being more active. Trying to lock down your man and taking on the challenge. Listen, I'm gonna lock this guy down. Or you know what, I'm gonna shift over to Dame and guard him. Right? There's different ways to be impactful in games. And I feel like OG is hiding and we're allowing him to hide. I see him in the corner just sitting there like, OG, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Well, one of the things I talked about earlier on in the season is last year with the glow up of Siakam. Siakam got like 6 to 8 points a game just by running the floor.
Yep. Easy.
Right? And I thought that really helped the development of Pascal in terms of him just being more confident in his game as a scoring option. But also like that Lowry leak out to Siakam was a thing.
Yes,
and I thought Siakam won't be able to do that as much this year because obviously there's way more focus on him. But I thought maybe there was an opportunity for OG to pick up some easy buckets like that night in, night out. And I feel like the trap that he's falling into now is basically all his shot attempts are just off the open threes.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's not enough cutting to the basket. There's not enough backdoor cuts or even just getting on the offensive glass or something like that, right?
So I think first Norm, his come up, his development is he dropped OG down another option. So now OG is OG's the 5th option, right? 6th or 7th, depending on who's on the court. And then also Rondé, right? Rondé, where you say you want him to go switch and guard Dame. Well, Rondé's already doing that. Rondé's doing it, right? And Rondé will get into the post.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas that's where probably if Rondé can get into the post and sometimes it's a little wild, but he does get some buckets in there.
I get what you're saying,
right?
Q.
OG, being as big as he is, 6'8", whatever, 240.
Remember that game we were saying he was posting up too a lot, so that's where he can get easy buckets on easy post-ups on smaller players.
Right, but I think, again, it comes to, I think he looks around and sees, okay, where am I going to be where am I going to get the ball, right?
Comfort.
With Serge and Mark down in the post, you down there is clogging it up a little more.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
This is the time with all those guys out where he should be experimenting and seeing like where can I be effective, what can I do better.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right.
Experiment, but assertive at the same time. Who else is gonna take shots?
Yeah. No, that's fair.
That should be his mentality. But again,
he should be the third option right now.
1,000%.
And he's not.
But he's young, and I guarantee there's nobody telling him this too.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's very interesting. And in the Raps offense, I guess it's easy to kind of settle in and trust the offense. But sometimes you just need to go get a bucket.
Yeah.
Right? And there should be times where, maybe you leave OG on the court with the bench, but you can't even do that. Right? Like, he's not there yet.
He's not because you need the ball handler, right? So
Yeah. As Akim points out on Instagram, Akim says, really disappointed with OG. He has a chance to elevate his game while Siakam is injured, but he's so passive most games. Some sparks and some good plays, but I don't know. That pretty much sums things up from my end too, right? Like, I think that's a very accurate assessment. Definitely, just because I haven't seen enough from OG. But there's also a great conversation right now going on in the Instagram feed about should you have stuck with the bench or let the bench roll a little longer. K2's Garnett says, listen, at some point you got to come back with your starting/best lineup. Nick Nurse, let these guys play deep into the fourth. I agree with that for the most part. No? Or, no, you're looking at me crazy. Go ahead.
No. That's definitely. I mean, they were effective, but those guys are going to be effective in spurts, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That's not the lineup you will ever want to finish a game with at this point in all of their careers, right? So, I mean, yes, maybe one or two of them should have been stayed on the court maybe a little longer. Boucher maybe should have got more minutes. Brissett was effective, but you don't just ride that unit. Going up, it would have been the same outcome.
Foots, do you agree with this comment here? Pastor Wesley on Instagram says, I repeat, I don't want to hear any slander to the bench guys when only two of our starters had double digits.
Hey man, I can't listen, coming from the pastor, I like that name. Listen, I can't disrespect. He right.
Yeah.
He right.
The other part too is this isn't like our regular starters you're going back to.
Yeah.
So there's really no need to
I want to see what they
other
have.
than Serge and Kyle. Everyone else's minutes are up for grabs.
Thank you. And I would have rode the bench too, because at the end of the day, majority of the starters are out. See what these guys have in the pressure situations, because I guarantee in the playoffs we're gonna need these guys.
Question for you: Do you think you rested guys, or maybe didn't go as hard with guys? As I'm trying to look up Kyle's minutes. Kyle played 38 minutes. Serge played 32.
That's too much for Kyle, man.
Kyle played 36, but you're on the first night of a back-to-back. Do you think there's a thought that you should have eased their minutes with another game tomorrow night? Or no, you're in the moment right now. Get this dub, worry about tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so, because I think when you look at it, yes, Portland right now is not a playoff spot, but I think you're going up against three all-stars, right? Yeah. You ride Kyle and Serge in this game. Tomorrow, you're going up against. I mean, when the bench came in, who were they going up against? Right, Simons, who's a good player but he's young.
Yeah.
Tolliver, who how is he still in the league? Bazemore, right? You can ride Brissett and Boucher against that lineup.
But once
they
bring in the superstars back in, you feel like we should bring in.
Whereas tomorrow,
you're giving the younger guys more run.
You can ride those guys in, because there's nobody who's coming on the court. I mean, unless Rozier comes in and he's just balling tomorrow. Yeah. That really says, okay, Boucher can't play against this guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Matt Thomas can't guard this guy.
Yeah.
Right? So you can ride them tomorrow.
DVAD on Instagram says, I think we have to look at the bigger picture. A lot of good years ahead for Raptors fans to watch competitive winning teams. These young kids are good.
I agree.
Yeah.
Shout out to the future.
Right? Shouts to the future. More comments here. Someone says on Twitter, this was supposed to be the year OG lived up to the hype. His breakout season, 3 years in and still waiting.
Okay. I don't know what to say to that because at the end of the day, like OG
he missed all last year
was he?
too.
Like he
missed
missed
all
all
last
last
He
year.
missed all last year.
Yeah.
Right. So
Again,
give him a break. I don't know.
He's in this organization. We've seen it come. I think again the problem is they have a bunch of guys who are kind of at the same level, right?
Yeah.
There's only so much ball to go around, right? So yes, I'm not doubting that in this situation with where the Raptors have everybody is injured.
Yeah.
Yes, this is his time where he should be stepping up.
Yeah.
But nobody came into the season thinking, hey, we're gonna have our 4 starters out at one time, right? So, give the man time. I'm not ready to. I mean, obviously, if there's a trade to happen, that's make it happen beside. But I'm not ready to give up. I mean, just think about it. Like before Norm got injured, right? What was Norm, right?
Norm was putting away.
If it was up to y'all, Norm would have been shipped out 6 years ago, right? And now we need Norm. So give the man time.
Kathari on Twitter says, tough loss tonight, but the Raps 905 played well against the full Blazers team.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
It's
like
Kyle and
think
Niall.
about it. Like that's what it was
It's true.
for the most part.
Glow Girl Smile on Instagram says, need to shake it off. Raps playing back-to-back tomorrow versus the Hornets. And I know normally on that, I would think you got to get one out of the two.
I've already counted that dub's in the pocket already. I already counted that.
See, I can't give automatic dubs with this lineup the Raps are putting out there.
Yeah.
I just can't. It's just too tough.
Have you seen the Hornets play?
Yes, but Foots, I'm just saying.
Have you seen the Hornets play?
But yes, but I haven't seen this Raptors team is currently constituted where like Matt Thomas has to play like mega minutes and take how much shots? Matt Thomas taking 6 shots and it's totally okay. Like he has a permanent just green light. This Raptors team, I haven't seen them play enough to where I can just pencil in a dub against anybody.
Okay. Well,
Right? Like with Freddie, it's like, okay, cool. We'll blow out the Cavs. Cool. But like without Freddie now, who's getting to 20?
it's tough, man. But like, have you seen the Hornets? You see who they're rolling out?
Foots, I hope you're right, man.
We're a bunch
I
of
hope you're right.
grinders.
No, I
Listen,
hope
at
you're
the
right.
end of the day, we're gonna hustle. We're gonna play hard.
Yeah,
The Hornets,
not about
bro,
that.
they're not about that life, man.
That guy Damone checks in and says that this game annoys me as much as the OKC loss. We shouldn't have lost either of those games. Oh, the OKC game was the game with the refs, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that was the game
The
with
infamous-
the refs.
But again, that's. I mean, you're playing Chris Paul, and obviously Shai's having a big year, but that's another game where when you look back at it, you were not including the ref, right? Because even the NBA last 2 minute whatever decided that was the right call. So let's put that other. But another 2 good offensive possessions or better defensive possessions, and that game doesn't come down to the ref's call, right?
That's it.
That's another
Simple.
game where you're going to look back when you're 2 games back of whoever that you should have been playing, whoever you're going to look at and say those games that we should have had.
Yep.
Mollyway27 on Twitter checks in and says, OG never had a fluid offensive game. Certain guys just don't have a reliable go-to move.
That's true.
It's facto. He's not there yet.
So they got to do it.
That's where you got to develop that.
That's
move,
where you got to
right?
develop that move, but at the same time do other things.
For sure.
And OG is not doing the other things
For
right
sure.
now.
And one more thing on OG. JC says, I still love OG. He's going to get there. Honestly, I love all of our guys. And I think that's the theme with this team because how many teams could lose like 4 legit rotation players, right? Like legit 4 of your top, 6?
Yeah.
4 of your top 6 guys.
And compete.
And you're competing night in, night out. That's the part where I'm like, it's so much fun rooting for these guys because at least they're not out here getting blown out. Because if they came out and got blown out in this game, nobody's going to be like, that's terrible. What are you guys doing? How could you guys get blown out by the... Nobody would say that.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true.
They didn't get blown out by anybody.
And then there's the fact that we're still in the honeymoon stage. Like we're still the world champions. So really, we're playing on borrowed time here. Like
That's it.
Maybe that's why I'm
you
not
know what I mean?
mad.
It's like
This is
it's
a
like,
bonus.
Yeah, it's okay. Whatever.
It's so true. So many comments. Thank you guys for sure. So many comments. Wish I could get to them all. But of course, there's that many. We've grown so much that there's so many comments that I can't get to, but that's why we boost the fact that if you hit us up in the comment section wherever you listen to the podcast, meaning whether it's on YouTube or iTunes or Google Play or SoundCloud, the comment section there, especially on YouTube, it gets really heated. So we'll push all the comments there, and of course, interact with us on socials because we will respond as well. If you hit us up, I'll start with you, Foots. Where would you want the people to hit you up? And let me know what's going on with you first off.
Man,
but where do you want the people to hit you up? Share your thoughts. Get your thoughts on what's going on in the NBA and Raptor land.
Same place as always. You can hit me up on IG and all social media places. Eastside O and at DDS Caps.
Q?
You know where to find me, people. Simply _just Q on all social media. And, of course, DDS Caps, DDSCaps.com. Wherever you see me, I'm there.
And tough loss for the Toronto Raptors as they fall 101-99 to the Portland Trailblazers, who, again, led this game for just 17 seconds. Carmelo Anthony with the game winner. Dame Lillard with a deep dagger three to tie the game late. Some very questionable calls went against the Raptors, but at the end of the day, they couldn't execute down the stretch. Carmelo Anthony with the game high. Again, I got to say that again. Carmelo Anthony with the game high 28 points on 10 of 17 shooting. Kyle Lowry led the way for the Raptors with 24 points, 10 assists, but Lowry only shooting 7 of 23 from the floor. Tough game for the Raps. A game that they might look back and say, we probably should have had, but
shoulda, woulda, couldas.
Yeah, shoulda, woulda, couldas. And the big news as well, injury news, Fred VanVleet missed this game with a hamstring injury. Not really sure when he's coming back. Nick Nurse, it didn't seem like it would be a 1 or 2 game thing. So VanVleet's now out, joining Norm, who he did say seems to be close.
Yeah.
So Norm seems to be close. And then Gasol should be coming soon after Norm. And then Pascal, we're waiting on that. But tough times in Raptorland, but they're holding down the fort, and this team remains entertaining. And I thank you guys so much for tuning in and sticking with us and rocking with us, because we're here for you guys to talk about the game afterwards and talk about what we hoped was going to be a win, which would have been a big win, a huge moral win, and confidence boosting win. But the Raptors fall. But either way, thank you guys for tuning in. As you do, always live after each and every Toronto Raptors game on Twitter at Shell Alexander. Taking your comments and questions there as always. Same thing goes. Follow up on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander. Trying to get you some more content there as the days go along as well at Sheldon Alexander. And of course, the full podcast. Like and subscribe. Boost those numbers up, rate us, like us, tell your friends on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube. Like and subscribe, join the network. Just search On Blast Podcast. On Blast is a network, Wrap It Up as a show. Really appreciate you guys rocking with us. Raptors lose the first night of a back-to-back. Get another shot at getting a victory very soon against the lowly Charlotte Hornets. Hey, got to get your wins, right?
Yeah,
you can only play who's in front of you. And
That's
so far, the Raptors continue to ball. Really appreciate it. Again, my name is Sheldon Alexander. And thanks as always, because I used to pray for times like this to rhyme like this. This is the Wrap It Up on Blast Raps post-game show. As always, unpolished and unapologetic. Until next time, see ya.
Peace.
On blast.